You know, most of the times, we as healthcare providers, we tell you that you are your own healthcare advocate. What do I mean by this? Safety begins by you. You in the driver's seat. In our world today, we are overwhelmed by disease. Disease has become a burden to us. More diseases are becoming resistant to medication. New diseases are coming or appearing. The ones that were extinct long ago or that were eliminated long ago, they are reappearing with the potential of causing illness. We get sick as a result of many factors. The food we eat, environment, climatic change, animals that surround us, fellow human beings, changes in our bodies, and certain lifestyles. Also gender, geographical location, and even race, without forgetting microorganisms, certain drugs and chemicals, bioterrorism, and our fellow human beings. But first of all, let's look at some reports about disease and how it affects us today.
Food safety experts say it's like lightning striking twice. The very same strain of E. coli found in contaminated romaine lettuce last year is once again in romaine lettuce this year, and it's causing sickness. 32 people in 11 states and 18 people in Canada, in Ontario and Quebec, falling sick just since last month. So the warning.
Out of growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S., here's what we know. A Washington state resident fell ill after returning from Wuhan, China, where the outbreak began. Officials now say more than 400 people have been sickened and 9 people have died. The World Health Organization is holding an emergency meeting right now.
So my fellow Kenyans, on Friday, March 6th of this year, the government of Kenya received confirmation of the first case of COVID-19, more commonly known as coronavirus.
It's not just Flint, Michigan that's dealing with lead poisoning. More than 3,800 areas across the country have levels of lead poisoning that are at least double those seen in the height of Flint's crisis.
As you prepare to sit down with family and friends for Thanksgiving dinners, Americans are being warned to stay away from all romaine lettuce everywhere over new health concerns. The CDC says the leafy vegetable is connected to E. coli, to an outbreak that's made at least 32 people sick in 11 different states. 13 people have already been hospitalized. Anna Warner is at a New York supermarket where the lettuce has already been removed. Anna.
Out of control, the Ebola outbreak spreading fast. And now, the race to save 2 Americans stricken with a killer virus. This morning, breaking details on the emergency mission to bring the first patient home.
We have suspected cases in the city. We were committed to bring it on the road and block the road.
Please stay away from the dead body. Please stay away from the dead body.
We were ambulance team. The job is very, very hard.
The UN admitted it failed to properly treat sewage from its base in Haiti, which led to the contamination of the largest river in the country. This negligence led to the spread of a deadly disease, cholera. And now, after years of denying any involvement in the matter, the United Nations finally is taking some responsibility. At least it appears so.
News alert now. Georgia is one of 5 states impacted by an E. coli outbreak.
And right now, the Centers for Disease Control does not know where it all started. But Good Day's Natalie Foltz joins us with this.
The government says that at least 13 people have died owing to a cholera outbreak in parts of the country, most notably the north. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says that over 500 people are battling the illness, majority of whom are children, with 12 of the deaths being listed.
More than 1,000 students in 22 schools nationwide have been affected by a massive outbreak of food poisoning. Authorities say the students were exposed to school lunch cakes that were contaminated by salmonella.
3 days ago, some 50 students at this school experienced symptoms of food poisoning such as high fever, stomachache, and diarrhea after eating school lunch.
Now we move on to the news about the virus causing a health alert at one of the nation's most popular vacation spots, Yosemite National Park. Tonight, the number of patients is growing and the virus is mysterious, potentially deadly. Nearly 30,000 people could now be at risk.
A deadly disease is lurking. Yosemite Park rangers are warning every visitor about the outbreak of hantavirus spread by rodents.
But when we get in a situation where we have enough masks, I believe there will be some very serious consideration about more broadening this recommendation of using masks. We're not there yet, but I think we're close to coming to some determination.
What was once the world's most feared disease may be back again, courtesy China. A city in China's Inner Mongolia has reported a suspected case of bubonic plague, the same disease that killed more than 50 million people in the 14th century Europe. The city has been put on high alert, with authorities on the lookout for a second case. Bubonic plague is highly infectious, often fatal. It is transmitted by animals, often marmots, which are eaten in several regions in China. As the world battles the Wuhan virus, China's live animal markets have dragged millions of lives to another potential healthcare crisis. Here's a report.
The epicenter of what may be another epidemic, if not a pandemic. China's questionable healthcare and animal trade has risked the lives of millions yet again.
Schwarzenegger has declared a state of emergency in California and has called in the National Guard to help with the situation.
Volunteers hand out insecticide-treated bed nets, the best line of defense against malaria.
Tonight, a malaria alert.
A full-scale investigation is now underway.
Like malaria played out with polio. Like Obama got to do something fast.
It is a parasite, a single-celled organism transmitted by an Anopheles mosquito.
And right now, that aeroplane you can see flying behind me is spraying an insecticide over West Canton.
Dirty water flowing through Haiti streets during the rainy season is spreading the disease, now flooding hospitals with patients.
The situation is terrible. Inside the hospital, they're overcrowded. They're not overcrowded. It's beyond overcrowded.
Cholera is a bacterial infection spread by poor sanitation. It causes diarrhea and dehydration so severe, victims can lose more than a quart of water an hour.
So do public health officials think they can get this thing under control? It doesn't sound like it.
You know, I spoke to experts today, and they're extremely concerned. I mean, the rebuilding of Haiti has gone very, very slowly. People still living on top of each other in unsanitary conditions. And if this spreads to Port-au-Prince, where there are millions of people, the effects could be devastating.
All right.
The most important thing, clearly, all the medical people are telling us is do not push back, do not fall off the social distancing.